Hey everybody, so this is going to be the last lesson for quadratics unit 2. We're going to go through an example of graph in factored form. This is not the same question that you will get. The two equations are going to be different, but this is going to be this exact same format you will be doing. So example 1 of graph in factored form. In this investigation, you will graph different parabolas and determine the length between the equation in factored form and the zeros of the parabola. The zeros of the parabola, what that means, it's the 2 points on that goes through the x-axis. So fill in the table for the following parabola. We've got we've got x minus 5 and x plus 1. So let's put -1 in for x. So you can use a scientific calculator. So I'm going to put -1 minus 5, -1 plus 1, I get 0. Then I'm going to put 0 in for x, and I get -5. Then I'll put 1 in, get -8. We'll put 2 in, -9, 3, -8, and then it will be the same step pattern as it would be going back. So then this would be -5, and then this one would be 0. So let's graph it. So we had 0, -5, -8, -9. Move our graph and we can see that the 0, so where it goes through on the x-axis, so remember the x-axis is the one that goes horizontal, it's going through at point -1, because the y value is 0 there, and it's going through the point at 5. So that means that our zeros for this parabola is -1 and 5. Okay, so we saw that the direction in was up. Zeros is x equals -1 and x equals 5. And what's the axis of symmetry? This is the point where our vertex is. So right here is our vertex. And that is the x value of it. So my x value, so we go all the way up, it's 2. So my axis of symmetry, so the left side will then equal the right side, is x equals 2. Okay, and then we just need to do the step pattern. So it's the exact same parabola. So we're starting from the vertex. If we move right 1, we're moving up 1. Then from that point, if we move right 1, we're moving up 3. And then from this point, we move right 1, we move up 5. It's the exact same thing on the left side, since the right side is the mirror of the left side, so it'd be 1, 3, and 5. So that's all you need to do for the Desmo activity. And then you're going to have a little Google Doc with a table that you need to fill in. So to fill in that, you can use these as examples. So graph in factored form. So the general formula for factored form is y equal a, then x minus s, and then x minus t. The a, this controls the direction and opening as well as the step pattern. So it's the same as the vertex form. So remember, if it's negative, it opens down. If it's positive, it opens up. S and t, the opposite of these numbers, so right here, since it's a negative and it's a negative there, so that would mean that S and T, the opposite would be positive. are the zeros of the parabola. In this case, the parabola would have zeros of s and t. So where it goes through the x-axis would be at s and t. So let's look at an example. We've got y equals 2, then we've got x minus 3, and x plus 5. So when we're looking at the 0, we want the opposite sign, so it's negative 3. We want the opposite sign of that. That's going to be positive 3. And then when we're looking at the positive 5, we want the opposite sign of that. So my zeros is going to be x equals 3 and x equals negative 5. The direction of open in, since there's no negative in front of the 2, the direction of open in is up. And then lastly, the axis of symmetry, what we do is we take the two values of our zeros, we add them together, and then we divide it by 2. This would give us negative 1. So the axis of symmetry, so where the vertex would be, will be at x equals negative 1.